Hi, hello. So funny. I should have used this for the one about Celine Dion because we both have a Taurus Mars. And I could have taken advantage of this cute little cow. Taurus cows. Anyway, hi, I'm here today to talk about politics, which is not my favorite thing to talk about because I have a lot of thoughts and a lot of feelings and I can never speak them all out. So all the nuance gets not all the nuance, but a lot of the nuance gets missed, and I just it's hard. So anyway, I invite you to kind of come into your own agency and centering and alignment around this conversation. Um, recognize that there's no way that I can speak to all of the nuance all of the time. So I hope that you have been around or continue to stay around long enough to ask questions if you have them, find the clarity of what I truly believe about some of these things. So anyway, let's get into it a little bit. The thing that really set me off, the Democratic convention dates. I don't understand how this state was chosen for the Democratic convention. They obviously do not work with an astrologer, and I don't understand, and I'm a little bit stressed. I don't know where that cut off or what I was trying to do. But anyway, let's try this again. I'm going to try and share the screen. Okay, it looks like it's sharing now. So here is the chart for the beginning of the Democratic Convention. And for those people that don't know, the Democratic Convention is a place where all these people come together, all these Democrats come together, and they decide who is going to be the presidential electee person running for president and vice president. Um, and so it's a pretty pivotal moment in the politics of the United States. And this chart is buck nuts. This chart is wild. Listen, I don't understand. And it's wild. So let's talk about it. Okay, so the first thing we see is all of these red lines. These lines in the middle are aspects, and the red ones, they're difficult aspects. They're tense. They're squares and oppositions, and they're difficult. And so what this tells me automatically is that there's a lot going on and going to be going on in this convention. And we're going to break it down a little bit more. But the first couple things that I want to look at, let me get my draw stick out because I have things to say. All right. So the first thing that I want to point out is that this is happening on the exact day of a full moon. This is the Aquarius full moon at 27 degrees of Leo and Aquarius, which are fixed signs, which is exactly going to be pinging the chart of Joe Biden in a very specific way that we're going to talk about in a little bit. But we're having a national convention for the Democratic Party on an Aquarius full moon. This could be good or this could be chaos, right? We like that it's an Aquarius moon. That's very Democratic Party of us. But it's a full moon, which is a little, wild in and of itself. If that was the only thing going on, but it's not. So this opposition between the sun and the moon, which makes a full moon, is also in a T square to Uranus, which is also exactly at 27 degrees. Uranus is about liberation. That's great. But it's also about sun changes, shocking events, liberation at all costs. And so this full moon squaring Uranus makes me feel like there's going to be people shocked by the outcome of what happens under this. And Uranus is unpredictable, so I'm not going to sit here and try to predict what exactly shocking events are going to happen. I have my own thoughts. I have my thoughts. Of course, I have my thoughts, but I'm not going to share them because that's silly in my opinion. So, but either way, I think there's going to be a lot of things that people don't expect or are just shocking in some way. So I'll be interested to see that. I think this chart again is fucking wild. So that's the first thing we're looking at, this T square that's happening between the sun, the moon, and Uranus. Okay. So then there's more, my darlings. There's a whole nother T square that's happening over here between mutable signs. So that was a fixed T square. So people with fixed signs are going to be feeling that most. And we're going to look at the charts of a couple of people and talk about what we think, but what I think, I guess, and then you guys can share what you think as well. I hope that you will. I love when you do. So anyway, there's another T square, and T squares in the sky are about pulling tension. There's about all of these things that are priorities, and everybody's going about them in different ways. So having two squares in the chart really indicates to me that there are a lot of people saying a lot of things with a lot of opinions, and they're very different from one another within this Democratic convention or what's happening, collectively during this time. And so what I see here, so we have another T square happening in mutables at 17, 18 degrees, and it's between Venus, Saturn, and Jupiter. All right. And not only that, but Mars is here too. So Mars and Jupiter coming fresh off of their conjunction in Gemini. This happened the week leading up to this. So it's just hot in the sky. It's busy, there's a lot of stuff going on. It's this T square this T square makes me wonder about a more femme presenting potential outcome as the presidential candidate, but yeah, there's so much here. There's so much here. But these two T squares definitely indicate to me that this is going to be a little bit chaotic, this Democratic convention. I think there's going to be a lot of stuff playing out here. The other thing that I want to look at here is that we also have Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius. Remember that it is sitting here until September, and then it dips back into Capricorn, 29 degrees of Capricorn, and it'll be there through the end of from September until through Election Day. And that is key, because what is happening here is we're being asked to look at our systems and our structures and our government. And so it's important that we don't deny the truth. That's what Pluto teaches us. We want to look at the truth and let go of things that are old. And the old guard is part of that, right? And I think Trump and Biden both kind of hold that archetype. The old guard, the old capitalistic views of this country, right? And so yeah, yes, I think it'll again be interesting just to see all of this play out. But anyway, so we have Pluto here at 0 degrees of Aquarius, about to back into Capricorn, 29 degrees, and that is the final exact punch of the United States Pluto return that's also happening during that time. And the fourth and final thing that I want to look about at this convention chart is Mercury. So Mercury is in Leo retrograde. So that purple means it's retrograde. So we're also having the Democratic National Convention during a Mercury retrograde. And what that means is misunderstandings and confusion and going back on things, or rethinking decisions or ideas. This is about arguments, right? Because it's conjunct the sun. So there's people that are really stuck in their beliefs. This is part of that fixed T square with Mercury retrograde here. So again, this is arguments and rethinking decisions and thoughts and ideas and things that have already been said, having to go back and change things that have already been said, which again makes me wonder about Biden, because we've it's been pretty clear that the Democrats have are behind him, right? Nobody is challenging that as of yet. And I don't know if it challenges exactly what happens, but there is definitely some rethinking of things that have been said before under this energy. Decisions that have been made before can be pulled back and changed. So I'll be interested to see how that kind of plays out here under that Mercury retrograde energy. And the Mercury retrograde, so Mercury will station direct at the end of August, so on August 28th. So this is the moment right after the Kazemi, or right before, sorry, right before the Kazemi. No, I was right the first time. It's right after the Kazemi. So the Kazemi is the day before, on the 18th. So there's clarity that can come here. And so maybe right before this convention, people like really get this like sense of clear understanding that they have to go back and think about some things again and maybe change some decisions. So I'll be interested again to see how that plays out and looks like. But it looks like a lot of arguing, anger, misunderstandings, changes, shocking kind of um, stuff that comes out. And this is just the chart itself. Now we're gonna do something else, which is I'm gonna look at some of the people's charts in regard to what's happening. So we're gonna start with Joe Biden. So let's just look at Joe's chart to start, just to kind of ground into what we're looking at. So here's Joe Biden's chart. This is his natal chart. It's the time is pretty certainly accurate. Sag rising. Let me pull up the rising. All right. Sag rising. So we have a stellium of planets in Scorpio, which is a fixed sign. So if you remember, we were talking about that T-square, the moon with Mars, no, the moon with Uranus and the sun and Mercury are all in fixed signs in that T-square. And it is exactly activating his sun conjunction to Venus in Scorpio, fixed Scorpio, right? He also has his moon. We're not loving it, but we're gonna try again. Joe Biden's chart. I hope that you heard me talking about it. He has a lot of fixed energy. The national convention, we have that fixed T-square with the sun and the moon and Uranus and Mercury, all in fixed in a T-square tension, right? And he has a lot of fixed energy. And so we can see here, I think it's interesting. Joe Biden was born right before a full moon, and Kamala Harris, or Donald Trump is also born right before or right during a full moon. I don't know. We'll look at his chart too in a little bit. But anyway, so here's Joe's chart. And then if it, probably, and I'll have to try to finish it up again time. Okay, so here is on the outside the chart. Let me get my draw thing out. Okay. So the chart for the National Convention is on the outside. The Democratic National Convention for this year is on the outside, and then Joe Biden's chart is on the inside. We can see some things are definitely being activated. Venus is here with his MC. The Sun and Mercury are conjunct his Chiron. We also have Saturn, which is conjunct his IC, meaning it is opposite his MC. It's probably quite annoying. So yeah, so let me know if you want me to keep going with this little series, and this will become a series, I guess. So we looked at the national convention, we got a glimpse at Biden, but not a ton. But we can get more into it. Okay, I'm gonna stop recording here and hopefully get these at least updated, and that'll start this kind of, I don't know, pop culture, current events, chat about the astrology. Remember that I can't always hit the nuance. Makes me very nervous. Do you notice? Anyway, okay. Thanks for being here. Talk later.